Welcome to the Startup Therapy Podcast with Pat Lang and Lee Mills. We're going to help entrepreneurs and founders avoid some of the trials and tribulations that we've gone through and share resources and ideas and talk to exciting founders that can tell us about their story and what they're trying to do, talk about the space, talk about Bookable, how we're doing this, and how anybody can create their own podcast as part of their marketing strategy.
Yeah, I mean, we both have been kind of like serial entrepreneurs, serial bootstrapping entrepreneurs, been a part of some funded companies, but also entrepreneurs. Exactly, right? Working for different companies, bringing technology and innovation. But I feel like we've learned a lot. We've been friends for a long time.
We have.
I think it's been almost 18 years now.
Has it?
Yeah, I think it's been that long.
Wow.
How did we even meet?
I had a client called Wirestone that I was doing marketing consulting for, and I was basically leading they basically focused on design.
Right.
And they wanted to branch into paid media and SEO and paid search. So they brought me on to do that for their existing client base. And then there was an opportunity to bring in some new clients. So they asked me to help them with biz dev and sales. So that's how I met you. I went to Intrigue to pitch their epic creative team and creating like really high-end, high-fidelity PowerPoints for sales and for investors and big things like that.
Correct,
and I just felt nothing but positive vibes from you.
Right.
And I was like, I like
One
this guy, make him my
guy.
friend. We had some back and forth through business, right? And then we just kind of hit it off and decided to be friends.
Intrigue was cool. Yeah, I remember you coming into Intrigue. That was a long time ago. I just moved to San Diego from Chico. Got a house. I think my wife was pregnant, had a little kid, and Intrigue was the first UX job I had, and that was 18 or so years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And we were doing mobile.
That's right.
We were doing video on demand channels. So we're really an early adopter in mobile, and I think that's affected me my whole career from those experiences. Really a dynamic company. And we met some good people there. I still have friends from there. I met you there. And it's just really been a great opportunity from the early days of mobile before the iPhone.
Yeah, for sure.
Before the iPhone, we were creating mobile apps before the iPhone.
Yeah, before Palm Trello.
Exactly. And and that was just an incredible experience. So I'm glad we met, and here we are doing this. So
yeah, it's awesome. We've come a long way. We've done a lot of stuff. Business-wise and also outside of business-wise, like off-roading and stuff has been a fun passion.
Oh, off-roading, yeah. I can thank you for me having my expensive Jeep.
You're welcome.
The Rubicon, oh man. I don't know if I'm gonna keep the Rubicon though. I don't know, because the lease, I'm leasing that one. The lease is up in July. I know, I may downgrade a little bit. I may still have a Jeep, but maybe not the Rubicon.
Just go to Toyota.
I've been tempted.
Toyota.
Yeah, I like your FJ Cruiser.
It's like the Apple phone of off-road trucks.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Kyocera makes a really awesome, rugged, durable phone. So
okay, all right,
not fair.
All right, Lee. So what startup are you a part of now?
So I'm the founder and CEO of Pixly. I started the company in December 2019, and we've created the fastest and easiest way to document your projects with photos, videos, tags, and soon AI. Okay. So it's all about visual documentation.
Okay. So like if someone has a construction project or anything like that, then if you have Pixly, then you don't have to like rely on just texting someone like, hey, fix this.
Correct. So the big problem we solve is 30% of projects have disputes, and the average dispute's $50 million. And the dispute could be you hired somebody to remodel your kitchen and they painted it the wrong eggshell color white. That, of course, that's awful. That might cost $500 or $1,500 to fix. Or the dispute could be they laid the foundation for a large office park 15 yards off center, or they put the operating room in the wrong place in the hospital. Those things actually happen. And so they have to document their projects every day for progress and also to protect from disputes. And there's so many moving parts. And there's 3 different workflows that we solve, but just texting stuff back and forth is one of them. Because the dispute might happen today, tomorrow, or 10 years from now. And then good luck trying to find a photo or a video on your phone from 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, all right, so you're the founder and CEO of Pixly. And how far along are you guys?
Not as far along as I'd like to be, but far along. We've got over 2,300 users now.
Okay.
We've got 22 customers, got 2 new customers this week, which is great. So we have early ARR. We have a patent on placing tags on photos and videos in the cloud, which is a big part of the business. We're approved to integrate with some of the bigger players, which is exciting. And we just got our first renewals from our first big customers. So that's super positive. And we've got a product manager joining the team too, which is great. So it's super exciting. It's all up. Yeah, for sure. Man. And I had a meeting with a customer, potential customer yesterday. He's like, I really wish I knew about you guys a year and a half ago. You could have saved me a lot of money. So I know I'm on the right path.
You're going to have to share with us your customer acquisition strategy.
Sure.
Not right now. We're going to have an episode about that.
Oh, for sure.
We want to learn all about it because really I think I'm completely opposite. Like I'm a product guy, right? I have a UX background, working with developers. I'm not a developer myself. I have a wonderful developer co-founder at Bookable who's just amazing. But we're both kind of on the product side, whereas the sales side, customer acquisition side, and all that stuff that we're learning. And that's one thing I like about you is that's kind of like where you excel. You're always telling me about how you're calling customers. I don't call anybody, you know?
Well, I put myself through college doing telemarketing. So after the Navy, I spent 4 years on an aircraft carrier. I put myself through college, telemarketing, cold calling, selling long distance services.
Oh, wow.
So you get thick skin pretty quick.
Okay.
And then I went to another telemarketing company. I was pretty good at it and became a trainer, then a manager. And then I had 200 sales reps. So the whole P&L, hiring, training, firing. And so, yeah, you just got to be fearless picking up the phone. I mean, you can't do, it's really hard to grow a business without phone sales.
Yeah. And then I think ultimately you call it growth hacking.
That's part of growth hacking. I mean, growth hacking can be how you get reviews or get listings or get ratings or how you leverage other audiences. So like maybe in your case, like getting that list of all the mind body studios could be good for you. That. And then growth hacking would be taking that list and using a cold email marketing tool to email them a series of emails to get them to sign up for a demo for Bookable.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's low cost. You get the list and then you figure out how to get in front of those people.
Okay. And we'll talk about that too. I think that's kind of what we're here to learn from each other is just all the different ways. Like the whole thing is about the product, about processes, a little bit of a training organization, how to be a learning organization, things like that. How to just really go out there, work with developers, and then you're going to bring to the table all those other things that people like me need to have, like being able to go out and market, being able to sell, being able to pitch. You've even done some pitches for funding as well. So we like to hear the ups and downs for that. Like, and I think that's another thing is that, you know, we're taking two different paths. Well, we're kind of on the same path now, but like I wasn't going after funding. So that's kind of like been our strategy. I don't know if that will stay that way because as we grow or as things happen, you know, who knows, but we really haven't consciously gone after funding. We just got after customers.
Well, congrats on getting customers. And that's a big milestone. Few startups even get that far. But you have the benefit of having a technical co-founder who can write code.
Yes.
So if you don't have a technical co-founder that can write code, you have to pay somebody to do it. And you can certainly exhaust all your savings, which I don't recommend, but you might have to do it like I did. But if you could raise some capital from friends and family early on, but before you do that, you have to take a whole giant step back and make sure you have a product that people will pay for. So the whole product development and your idea and MVPs or even markups or simple drawings to say, hey, does this solve a problem you have? And would you pay for it?
Right.
You got to start with that first, which you did for sure. I know I did.
Right.
And then once you have that, then you go out and find people that believe in you, early angels and friends and family to help you build the MVP. If you need offshore developers or developers like I did. So that's what I did. And that got us pretty far. And then I was able to raise $100,000 to a pitch contest.
Right.
So I'm pretty proud of that.
Yes,
that was
I remember that.
The Veteran Fund is a VC fund that focuses on supporting veterans. And they had a pitch contest at the Military Influencer Conference. And so I went in there with the mentality, I was like, I'm going to win it no matter what. But after I presented, I wasn't so sure. But I did win, and that was great. And that came in the form of a safe note, so that was an investment.
Okay.
And then I used that to get the product to where it is today.
And we're going to break all that down. So we're going to talk about safe notes. We're going to talk about investing, the pros and cons. It's a little bit of time consuming, as you know.
It's a job.
Yeah, and I always felt like, honestly, that's why I always wanted to work with you. I always felt like I could build the product while you go out and do all that stuff.
I'll help you, man, any way I can.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. But
it's a lot easier to raise money when you have $250K in ARR.
Right. Well, you know, it's true. Well, that's true about everything. It's easier to get credit when you don't need credit. It's easier to get money when you don't need money.
True.
So so maybe the thing, if you don't need the money now, that's the time to go out and get it.
That's true.
We'll see how that works, how that plays out.
Yeah, or some startups, depending on where they're at revenue-wise, might just get some debt, some debt funding, financing, just in case they need it.
Another thing I think is an untapped source of capital is just business credit. So that's another thing that I'm kind of passionate about is business structures, creating a business, getting trade lines to be associated with your business, and then being able to qualify for business credit. Because if you can, walk in a Chase and get a Chase Inc. card with a $20K, $30K, or even $5K is the minimum that they have, $5K credit line, then that could save you. That can help you buy stuff.
It's funny you mentioned that because yesterday I had a call with JP Morgan Chase and for two reasons. One, last fall, because I'm a veteran, I was invited to a pitch contest called Vets in Tech. And I got second place, which I jokingly say is the first loser, but still I'm grateful for it because it was 10 grand. It was 10 grand that I put in the business, and it wasn't an investment. It was just a cash award, and that was great. And then JP Morgan Chase really invests and helps and supports veterans.
Awesome.
So like their bank has like no wire fees, and I wire money to India. So that saves me some money right there.
Nice.
And some other stuff. So yeah, I'm switching to JP Morgan Chase actually today.
Okay.
But I've been hesitant to do like
I'm a
personal.
fan of Chase.
I've been hesitant to do like personal loans against the business. Just
Well, it's two separate things. It's separate entities. So your business entity is completely separate from your personal entity. And then what people don't know is that you can actually go out and so the credit limits on business credit is much higher. And you can get as many cards as you want. Whereas when you do personal credit, all those count against you. Every time someone pulls your credit, it counts against you. You have those inquiries and that lowers your score.
Right.
But in business, you don't have to worry about that. So you can go out and get business credit cards from American Express, which I also love. I'm a huge fan of the gold card and also the blue card. So, and then Chase. If you combine Chase and American Express, you can end up with $50K.
But there's still like a personal guarantee. Like if something goes.
It depends. And that's the trick. Like I don't mind personal guarantee because my credit's good. So if your credit's good, who cares? A lot of people are like, the goal is to not have a personal guarantee, and that can happen. But if you but that happens after you build up your business credit long enough. Like we incorporated, I think it's been almost maybe 4 years now. It's before the pandemic. So now we've got 4 years worth of credit lines, And so it just depends. And then sometimes you do have to do the personal guarantee, but like I said, if you have good credit, it's not a problem. If you don't have good credit, then just keep building up your business line and you can go in and get those cards or that line of credit without. I'm all about this. So.
No, it's really interesting to me because I did something entirely different. I just went through like my personal life savings.
Yeah. Well,
like once we raised the first angel and friends and family round, we went through that faster than I thought because that happened during COVID.
Yeah.
So development slowed, everything slowed. And when we went through that, I'm like, okay, well, what are my options? Personal lines of credit like that, or just use up my savings. And I did that to keep the business alive and to keep myself like pay all the bills. So that could cause a lot of stress on an entrepreneur.
Well, I mean,
which is a whole other conversation.
I am no stranger to stress as an entrepreneur and finances. And I've been there, done that. We're using my personal money to, instead of paying the mortgage, paying like, oh, let me pay a developer. Like I've done that mistake. And I think that at the end of the day, it's like, you just feel like, hey, if I can just get to the next, like almost like football. If I can just get past the 20-yard line, I'm in the red zone. And I'm almost there.
Yeah. I've been saying I'm on the cusp of greatness for 4 years.
Right. I've been saying I'm in the red zone for a long time. Close. Yeah, in the red zone. I just need a good running play to get it over.
How to get there.
But I think it's just it stresses you out. And I think we talked about that too, like how to because I've always had jobs. I've always been working as a UX designer, UX strategist, or I've even done some work as like a instructional designer, training, change. So I've done all these jobs while also trying to create and run and manage and grow a startup. And that's just challenges. But I just think that I think we could debate what to do, but I personally think getting a job is the easiest way to get money. It's the easiest way to fund your business.
Hands down, you did it the right way, for sure. So I had a fractional CMO job, actually a couple. I was making really good money. But then once I won that pitch contest, all my clients were like, so what are you working on? I'm like, yeah, I should probably let you guys go. And so that income went away. And then, but I was like, okay, I got 100 grand. I can do this, and this. But little did I know, almost all of that had to go to rebuilding and updating the tech stack. So then that put me in a tough spot. But I've navigated through that.
There's so many things I can comment on that. On the tech, it's called the tech debt.
Tech debt.
And there's also UX debt too. I think we've been fortunate because, like I said, I have an amazing developer, Donnie, who's just incredible. And so he's been like crystal clear on understanding how much tech debt we've had and being able to say, you know what, Pat, we're gonna erase that and just start and rebuild it. Because now there's better tools, there's better systems, or now we realize, because at first it was like, okay, we're just building something so the story of Bookable is that it was during the pandemic and I was volunteering for a nonprofit, the Wheelchair Dance Organization, and they do dance classes for people that are wheelchair bound. But when the pandemic happened, and if you ever went to one of these events were like, so you would leave those events feeling so good, and you would choke up. It's just been amazing because you will feel sorry for yourself, but then you'd be like, well, you know what? I can walk, I can do other things. And there's people that have been dancing their whole lives and they're wheelchair bound, and you see them just being able to enjoy life and be able to how much happiness dance brings them. And so having been to a couple of those events, and when the pandemic hit, realizing that they couldn't continue to serve their customers, then we decided to build something that combines schedules and donations and notifications and a little bit of a customer management, so you can see who's all coming to your classes. So cool. And combining with Zoom, because Zoom, this is before the Zoom revolution. So there was nothing,
right?
And so we built that so that the Wheelchair Dance Organization could continue having start having virtual classes. And but like building it for that, and we built the first iteration, like I think 6 to 8 weeks was the first. Like the MVP was up and running in 6 to 8 weeks.
That's awesome.
Once lockdown happened, we were up and running, and then. But when you build an application that fast, you're obviously not thinking about like, oh, I'm building this for scale for hundreds of thousands of users. You're just building it to satisfy the immediate need. So just on the topic of tech debt, like luckily for us, we've had we just been in the position where we could just say, you know what, that was cool for what we did then, but now we need to be a little bit more serious because we want things to move faster. You click on a button, you want things to happen. We just started setting the bar higher for ourselves. And I think that's kind of like our philosophy overall, is we just keep setting the bar higher for ourselves, but it started off very humbly. And I think now we're here and like we still have a long ways to go, but we're just still kind of, are not afraid to just start over and just, and then rebuild it.
Yeah, tech debt or fail fast, whether it's the product or a marketing campaign or a partnership or something else.
Yeah. But getting back on this topic of working while you are building your startup, I feel like that's one of the hardest things to do.
And times 10 if you have a family.
Times 10. Oh man.
Maybe. More.
Now you're making me, oh man. Well, I guess here's just to keep it real with you. I think here's the issue is that sometimes you feel like an imposter.
Yeah.
Like you feel like I don't want to let people know what I'm working on because like you said, they're going to see, oh, you're working on that. So you must not have enough time to do the job that I'm hiring you for.
Exactly.
And I don't know if you've experienced that or what have you.
100%. Yeah. As soon as I won that pitch contest, all my clients were like, so are you leaving us or what's going on? I'm like, no, I'd like to stay. I still have hours committed to you guys. But I wound up losing all my high profile consulting clients.
Yeah, it's hard to that sucks. I mean, it's just it almost seems like unfair in a sense that you're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to work. You're trying to take care of yourself, your family, and all that. Yet you also are an entrepreneur, and you don't have funding yet, or you're not even to that point where you could even go out and get funding. And it's just like you're trying to like juggle.
Yeah, if you're a first-time founder and you don't have a exit behind you, or you don't have a trust fund or something, it's a lot harder. And your passion, you're pulled in both ways. You want to do a good job for your employer. Employer, that's the key word. They're an employer. They will replace you in a second.
Right.
But you want to do a good job for them. But then your passion is building this company. And how do you do them both? Especially when You have to cold call and build product and all these other things. And it can be a lot to juggle. When I told a guy, a fellow entrepreneur CEO, what I was doing, and he goes, how old's your kid? I said, oh, she's going to be born soon. He's like, it's impossible. Don't do it. You can't do it.
Yeah.
And I took that as more of like, oh yeah, well, I'll show you. But it makes it way harder.
He might be right.
I'm not going to let him be right. I'm not going to let him be right. I'm actually, whenever somebody tells me like that, all the naysayers can go pound sand.
Yeah. Yeah. No, even still, even having a studio here, people are like, oh, it's not a good idea to have this brick and mortar location. And it turned out to be a great idea. Actually.
Yeah, now look at them. Yeah.
It's actually to be a wonderful idea.
Anybody has an idea and they should go for it. Like, don't let anybody tell you no.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because people will tell you no. People will say, or people just don't get it. It's like, it's hard. That's why we're here. I think that's why we have this title.
Yes.
Startup therapy.
Now, if you go to 10 people and say, would you buy my product? And they all say no, that's different.
That's right.
But if you're talking to other people about the whole concept of starting your own business, then.
See, most people don't even understand what you do. People today, my family still doesn't know what I do. They don't know what UX is. Because it can be a lot of things. It's like, well, one minute you're researching and talking to customers. One minute you're doing this stuff in Figma, like you're drawing pictures. Next minute you're doing this and that. It's like it's hard to really say what I'm doing because what I do is different from project to project or client to client, or even what phase we are in the project. So
can't you just tell them that you're building products in a way that people will enjoy and embrace them and be loyal to them?
I got one
or
better.
Something like that.
I guess I'm in IT. That's it.
You're like, oh, okay.
And they go, oh, all right. I mean,
That's
and then the next question is like, oh, can you help me with my computer? It doesn't
like, oh my God, I spent so much time helping my mom with her printer. Oh God.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because you're in technology, no one knows exactly what you do.
Yeah.
So everyone thinks that means you can help them fix their computer, their printer, or that's why I was like, I'm a big fan of Apple. I was like, everyone just get an iPhone and get a Mac. And then, that solves it eliminates 50% of the cost.
It does. It does. Yeah, I have a client right now that I'm working with, and they're all about Microsoft Teams, and Microsoft 365.
Okay, that's cool.
It's a little painful.
That's cool.
But I'm happy to have it.
I'm starting to like Teams after all. It's actually not that bad.
Well, Teams is cool because it has the calendar built in, and you can open the calendar and do email within Teams versus Slack. But just the sharing feature is a little funky. So I'm literally create stuff in Google Docs, save it as a Word doc, and then upload it into Microsoft 365 to share.
Gosh. That doesn't sound fun.
It's not fun, but it's okay.
But I like Slack, though. I mean, if you're going to mention Slack, I will take Slack. I mean, we could talk about tools.
Yeah.
What tools are essential to you running your business?
Slack is definitely one of them for different people around the world.
Absolutely.
Slack, HubSpot's my CRM. I live and breathe in HubSpot.
Oh, okay.
I use.
Oh, really? Okay.
HubSpot's a great tool, and they have startup packages too, where they have like massive discounts. So I was able to get it for like 90% off year one, 50% off year two. But you can send emails, newsletters, track who opened what, clicked on what. It's a great CRM.
Okay.
I also live in Mixpanel, which is mobile analytics, so I can see as soon as somebody downloads the app, creates an account, and what they're doing within the app, so I can figure out who to call on based on usage. That syncs to HubSpot. Google Analytics is still always important. I use a couple tools for cold outbound email. A new one is called Apollo.
Okay.
Which is great. That's what we need to put that mind body list into. I'm telling you, I'll sit down with you. We'll do it together.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So, and then also with Apollo, you can say, hey, I want to find people that they could be yoga teachers in Oceanside, and they find the contact information for you. Okay. So I can say, I want construction concrete company owners that do 5 to 10 million and have 15 to 20 people in San Diego.
This is in Apollo?
In Apollo.
Oh, that sounds like something like LinkedIn Navigator would have.
But LinkedIn Navigator won't give you the emails.
Oh, interesting.
Because they want you to stay within LinkedIn. So there's a whole LinkedIn growth hacking was a thing where you could use tools to export the emails and do automatic emails. But I think one of the downsides to AI, like I probably get, no kidding, like 50 to 100 emails a day.
Oh, wow.
From sales AI companies are like, use our AI and we'll do this, that. And I'm like, I mean, if you'll do it on purely cost per completed demo, I'll consider it. Otherwise, no way, bye. And I like to reply to everybody because I think it's karma, but now I just delete. delete.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the top tools I use right now. I mean, we whipped this out like in less than 24 hours through a designer I have on Upwork. Right. So Upwork's great.
Essential.
Upwork's essential. Fiverr can be great too.
Right.
For finding people.
I don't use those.
99 Designs.
Yeah. Oh, well, 99 Designs. Yes, I've used 99. Actually, this logo came from. It wasn't $99. I actually did a whole different 99 Designs. You can actually find different designers and reach out to them and request to do an RFP with them.
Nice.
And say, hey, I like your work. Here's all the things I want. And then, everything from brand system to multiple logos, multiple designs, everything, multiple iterations, and EPS, AI, PNGs. I want the whole 9 yards, and then they will bid on it. And so that's what I did. So I just went out and found the designer that I want. That's a different way to use 99 Designs.
Sure.
It's still not $99, but it's still a lot more affordable than if you were to hire an agency.
Yeah, you went all in on it. Yeah.
No, I was worth it. So we use Slack daily. It's my favorite tool. I will you can pry it from my dead hands. Slack.
I hope you're doing something else many years from now when you die.
yeah, right. It won't be on Slack. It'll be my Slack message. That's how I'll let everyone know.
Like, goodbye.
I'm out, Slack.
Chat GTP.
Oh, that's right.
So I was just gonna say, like today, I actually upgraded, started paying for it. Okay. And I found this is like, if this is a human nature thing, but I found myself like thanking chat. I'm like, oh, thank you. That's a great response. And I say, hey, can you please write this SEO RFP? Like I have a relationship with this
You're
AI.
Starting to personify,
and I wonder if it works better for you if you're polite to it.
I don't know. You'll tell us. Report back to us.
I'll do an A/B split test, be really mean, which I don't have that in my DNA versus nice.
I don't know if it's going to matter though.
Yeah.
but we'll see.
I just find it interesting that I felt like thanking a machine for doing
No,
work
I mean, I think it's where technology should go. It should become more personal. I'm actually surprised that technology is still so dumb today. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I get in my car, I come to the same place every single day around the same time. I do the whole same routine. And it still is like asking me, where do you want to go? It's like, well, don't you know by now?
Yeah, it should.
I've been doing this.
There's no AI in your car.
Yes, I've been doing this for 6 months. Like, don't you know? I mean, I feel like that's where I feel like technology is kind of letting, or it can improve, put it that way. As far as it can still go further. I don't know if AI is going to take it there or what, but it could become more personable. It could start to predict what you want to do and help you get there. And that's kind of like, even with Bookable, we're like, we don't have to build every single feature. We kind of know what people are trying to do. So let's just try to build that core path so they can do it. And and let's help them out. Because we essentially know in our app, they're trying to build a schedule. So let's help them build a schedule. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they don't have to sit there and reconfigure it every single time. We got to know now. So.
Yeah. I call my customers like once a month and see how things are going and what do they want. And then I just stack rank features and then what's going to cost to build XYZ and who's going to benefit from it the most.
Nice.
Especially new customer acquisition. And that's how I go about that.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, I'm using a new tool called Linear. I don't know if you heard of it. So Linear takes the place of Jira and all those kind of tools, Trello, Jira, Notion, and it's phenomenal. Linear is the bomb.
Okay, because Notion's been getting like all the hype.
Well, we use Notion too. So my marketing team likes to use Notion because that's where we have our content calendar and I can see and approve all the posts that are going to happen. And so we had Notion and kind of using it as like, hey, this is where we could have some features and have some conversations between dev and product and UX. But but it's the marketing team absolutely depends on it and they love it because they can do the whole content calendar and have things that are work in progress, improve. And it really is good for that. And so as a result, I've been using Notion a little bit more. But as far as tracking issues or creating a potential roadmap or triaging what should be built or having a place to document user stories, Linear is hands down. You heard it here first.
I'm gonna check it out today. I'm so old school. Like I still create like my marketing plans and strategies are in PowerPoint. Plans are in Excel, and then, I'm sorry, in Google Sheets. Then I export them to Excel, and then they might go into Notion wherever I want. Okay. But sometimes it's a creature habit stuff. But any tools that can save time, like anything to save time, because you have limited time. Yeah. And you got to make time for yourself every day to stay sane, whether it's a walk to the beach or push-ups or surf or...
Yeah, you do yoga, don't you?
I do yoga, yeah.
You're a surfer and you do yoga.
Surfer, gym, yoga.
That's a very San Diego lifestyle.
It is when I can do, but there's sometimes where I've let myself just get too busy and get all caught up in my head, and but I have to do it to stay sane. Like you got to take, if you can't take care of yourself, then you can't take care of a business. Or grow.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think it's 100% related. I work out next door at Axe Fitness. My trainer, Lydia.
Shows, man.
You say that, man. I have a long ways to go, man. I'm on a fitness journey because I have my hip injury, and that kind of grounded me in a sense for 3 years, and I couldn't move too much and gain weight and stuff. But yeah, no, I lift and I work out every day, and I'm trying to get this weight down. And then I also do yoga now.
Well, one day we're gonna go to the gym together.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That don't have to be. That could be sooner. That could be at 5.
I got to be home by 5, but one day for sure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
But surfing's my number one passion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because that's like church. There's nothing beats surfing. And then the gym, weights definitely help. Yoga helps. Nothing matters. You know what matters after hot yoga? Nothing matters. You sweat it all out.
Gotcha.
And then whenever I can escape to the desert with you,
yes,
and just get, as much as I love technology and all this stuff, it's great, but it's great to not have it and no Wi-Fi and no signal and just like be totally present in nature.
So
it's
I think
very recharging.
I think I'm gonna get a hard top for my Jeep so that I can get a roof tip. I think so. You've made me spend a lot of money on my my Jeep, but it's been worth it.
Everything I've got on that FJ, like the rooftop tent, Craigslist.
This is a good point.
The ARB bull bumper, Craigslist.
Yeah.
The rock sliders, Craigslist.
Yeah.
The roof rack for the rooftop tent, Craigslist.
I'm definitely
the rims. I got new to me old TRD rims, Craigslist. The winch was brand new. Tires are brand new. Shocks I've gone through a couple times, but I just like, it's kind of fun to just like look for bargains and find something.
Okay, well that's what I need to add to my game is that because I definitely want to get a hard top and a rooftop tent so I can start to go out and hang out with Lee Mills in the desert. And then
you can go out without it. I went many years without a rooftop tent.
I'm not sleeping on the ground, man. A snake might bite me or something. I'm gonna be up.
All right.
That sounds good to me.
It is a game changer for sure.
Yeah. And then we also go out with other founders too. So that's been pretty cool. It's been like a networking, off-roading, anti-technology or get away from technology nature vibe.
Yeah, we got to do that more. Maybe we'll invite a few more people to go with us.
Yeah, we need it definitely. If you're interested in coming on a 4-wheel drive, off-road, adventure, Anza Borrego everywhere, Joshua Tree, you name it, then get in touch with Lee.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Okay. Last topic.
So the introductions parts,
yeah.
So Pat Lang, like you're the man. Like as soon as I met you, I was just like immediately impressed with you, and I liked you, and we've been friends ever since. And you've done so many things since that meeting at Intrigue, pre-iPhone, already advanced, above and beyond anything I'd ever seen. Some of your designs and your thought process, and now you've done stuff for Nike. Like every time I talk to you, you got like some amazing, awesome client. You're doing Nike, what are some of the other big brands you worked with? Intuit. Yeah, come on. Intel.
I worked for, one thing I can say that I've worked for some really good companies. I think I reached my peak when I was at Qualcomm.
Okay.
At Qualcomm, I was leading the design of the Omnitrax division. They got carved out later, but while it was still part of Qualcomm, it was like I had a team, I had an office, I had everything. I think as a UX designer, even though the title was lead, I was really like, the director. There was no one above me, put it that way. Or I reported into my director, but that was on a whole different team. And I really feel like that was like the peak of when I really was like, hey, I want to do this whole career as a UX and just grow. I'd been bit by the entrepreneur bug before that, and it kind of subsided. But then after that whole carve out, layoff, all that kind of stuff, then I think that's what happens is like, well, I wanted to stay there forever. You know what I mean? That's the kind of...
It was that good.
That's all I had no envisions of ever leaving.
Wow.
And then and I think that's what happens. And then when you get laid off or there's a carve out and then there's a reorg and all this kind of stuff, which just seems to just happen over and over and over. And then for me, I just kind of realized like, well, I really don't have control of this. I don't have, and not that I'm a control freak or anything. It's just that I just want to take care of myself and my family. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's just that simple.
Yeah. You want a legacy for your family.
Yeah. I don't want them to worry. I don't want my kids to kind of go through all the stuff I went through. Because, I've slept in my car. I've been homeless twice, things like that. I mean, we'll get into all that. I've also been fortunate, I've had, my parents had a lot of money and we also had no money. So it's just been that up and down. So
I get it.
So I think that kind of just defines who I am.
You're unstoppable.
Yeah, because you've experienced the lows of lows, like not having a place to live. It doesn't get much, lower than that. I slept in my car and all that stuff, and relied on my friends. But then having investment property or having things like that, and now having timeshare stuff, it's just that journey, and it's just like I just want to do well for myself.
Yeah,
and I just want to do well for my family.
Yeah,
and then sometimes I think I realize that these tech companies, as awesome as they are, they can't help it. It's just the nature of the beast. Technology is also always changing.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I mean, corporations and companies have one major goal, and that's to make sales and make revenue for their investors at all costs. So we're all, when you work for somebody else, you're replaceable.
Yeah.
And I've had, I just recently went through a really hard time. I can't talk about that just yet, but I worked for companies as employee number 3, all in, like 60, 70, 80 hours a week, weekends, never took a vacation, didn't go to bachelor parties, didn't go to weddings, didn't go to all these things because you're all in, and then it implodes or you're taken for granted or you can't get done what you want to get done.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, if that CEO can do it and fail, I know I could do it better than that person did. Like anybody can be an entrepreneur and do it. You have to do it. It's certainly, I want everybody to have an easier path than we've had. That's part of the reason we're here.
That's why we're here.
We're having our own therapy.
For sure. This is very
But
talking to you has been super helpful over the years.
We got to talk about this stuff. Yeah.
Like just keeping it real, like talking to you, because you get it. You understand. You know what I mean? Those people that I talk to or in my circle don't understand what we deal with, Like every day, I go, why am I doing this? Why don't I just go get a second job then? Or, a third job then if I want to work this hard. It's like, I'll be, making so much more money. And it's just hard to explain. And I think, my family's kind of just like giving in and like, okay, that's his thing. He wants to, build this company or whatever. And they've kind of like, okay, that's dad's thing or whatever. That's my thing. But it's just incredibly hard. There's not a lot of people to talk to. And I think that's what we realized, and that's why we're here, so that we can create this dialogue, build a community. I mean, the San Diego community of entrepreneurs just needs to get stronger anyway.
Yeah. I've spent 4 years working in my garage by myself.
It's lonely. It's freaking lonely.
I think my laughter is my coping mechanism.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For
I laugh a lot too.
But it can be really, really lonely. Like Connect will once in a while have like a thing for founders. There's other things, but like guys like you, I call once in a while.
Yeah.
I've got this great group of veteran entrepreneurs I met through a program, and we have a Slack channel, and that's super helpful.
Oh, okay, cool.
But generally it's like really lonely. And so most of the time I wake up every day, I'm like, I'm doing this and I'm stoked and I'm pumped.
Yeah.
And you get kicked in the pants.
Right.
Time and time again. Then the customer's happy, and you're like, yes. Or you get more validation, and then or you have an investor that's like, we're all in. We're going to wire the money, and then they don't.
Right.
And you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
So that all that stuff is plus juggling the family and keeping yourself sane and your bills and all that stuff is challenging. But we do it our way that we want to do it. That's the thing. So no matter what, I'm doing it my way, and I get advice and mentorship and stuff too. And I hired a business coach this week actually.
Oh wow.
So I'm a mentor and advisor, but I also need to be mentored and advised.
You're my mentor and advisor.
Yeah. Well, even the mentors and advisors have business coaches. So I hired a business coach, and I'm like, that's good because for a few reasons, another third party person keeps you accountable for what you're promising to do for yourself. But like, how often does somebody say, besides me, say, hey, good job, Pat?
Right.
Not very often, right?
Right. That's right. And I think we need that positive affirmation to let you know that you're doing good. And it's hard
or shared suffering.
Yes, that too. And we do that as well. And that's why we just need to go. We do what we do. We go to yoga class. We work at a gym, or we go off-roading.
Yeah.
We just need to do all those things to stay sane. But yeah, tell me a little bit more about Pixley and how it got started. Because I don't think we touched on that.
Yeah, it's a great story. So I've done sales marketing startups for consumers with Mojo Pages. I was a Yelp competitor. The first one was I was the first marketing hire for backup.com that did online backups before there was a VPN. I'm sorry, before there was broadband, excuse me.
Right.
So imagine trying to back up your computer on AOL dial-up.
Oh wow.
But had success with that.
You've got
that led me to that led me to my first venture, which was my first agency, Beyond Clicks. And so I was really good friends with my rep for PC World. Her name was Cindy Crow. She's like, Lee, you're doing great stuff. Can you help out my client? I'm like, sure, anything for you. You're like my number one partner. She goes, well, it's a company called Olympus, and they're launching this thing called a digital camera. And they don't know how to Olympus.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like, they know all about print and broadcast and traditional mail and marketing, direct mail, but they don't know how to do online marketing. Would you mind talking to them for me? So I'm like, for you, sure. You're my number one partner. And I like you.
Right.
So I drove up to LA and not knowing what to expect, I walked into this super fancy ad agency. The first time I've ever been in an ad agency. And I was kind of like, well, this is kind of cool. And I took them through a PowerPoint. I'm like, I find the right site, the right audience. I come up with 3 banners and 3 matching landing pages. I convinced them to run our creative as a test, because any marketer worth their salt should be open to testing. And it took a while, but I started getting traction. And here we are. PC World's one of our biggest partners, excuse me.
Oh, wow.
And our deal outperforms our average effective ECPM, cost per 1,000 impressions. And like, oh, that's great. We want a media buyer like you. Can you help us? I'm like, well, I'm a marketing director now. I really don't have any time. Like, well, give us a number. We got to launch this thing in a month. And so I was like, okay, well, here's an opportunity. And so I gave them a number, and it was way too small because they said yes right away. But I walked out of there with Olympus as my first marketing client.
Wow.
And that's when I'm like, okay, I'm going to start Beyond Clicks. So then I started working with other agencies, Site Lab, Wirestone, other ones.
Right.
When the internet was really starting to take off.
Right.
And that's how we met. But yeah, I did some really cool marketing stuff with like Playboy, like the Playboy Mansion, like all types of stuff for that was the ultimate high-end electronic gadget back then, the very first digital cameras.
Wow.
But yeah, so that led to me going in-house with Site Lab, and that led to me going in-house with one of our accounts called Anonymizer that did internet anonymity before VPNs were cool.
Okay.
That later had an exit. That led to me in the VP of engineering going to Switzerland, which is a story in itself.
Didn't know that story.
Yeah, it's a great story. I sold everything I owned and went to Switzerland with 3 surfboards and 3 suits.
We need to hear that story.
Yeah, and then came back, and I was number 3 at Mojo Pages.
Okay, I remember Mojo Pages.
So did a massive pay-per-click arbitrage program with like 50 million keywords. So San Diego dentist, Oceanside dentist, Carlsbad dentist, all the way across the country to New York dentist, Manhattan dentist, times 2,700 categories.
Oh my gosh.
In every city, town, and state. And we were buying traffic and taking it back to a page at advertisers, thinking the idea is that we charge the advertisers more than traffic costs us. That's arbitrage. So some days we're printing money, and other days we're like, oh no, what are we doing?
Right.
And we had an offshore team, and the tech wasn't stable, and it was a very stressful time. And I took the company through a pivot where we started private labeling the whole directory for local media companies. That worked. We got $5 million in VC funding in 2008.
Oh, wow.
That led to a spinoff called Mogul, which was a cashback rewards loyalty play.
Gotcha.
So did that for 5 years.
I remember your office at Mogul.
I had a dope office.
Yeah, I remember the office.
But I was bored and I couldn't get what I wanted to get done on Mojo Pages. And so I got recruited to an ad injection company, which is a whole story in itself. And that ultimately led to construction tech. So a friend of mine was the original co-founder for Raken that does construction daily reports, which sounds super boring because it is. And I kind of stubbed my nose at it. I'm like, here's a playbook. Here's what you got to do. Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Apple ads, email nurtures, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but we need somebody to do it. So I started doing it, and I started listening in on the demos. And that's when I had the aha moment. Like, these construction people are like, they're my people, like my tribe. Like, they're really proud Americans. They're proud of their projects. Like, I built that. And they get up really early. They miss out on their kids in the morning. They come home late at night. They have high stress jobs. And I just really liked the industry. So I got Raken to 1 million in ARR in under a year.
Wow.
So not by myself, but my strategy and my plan. Hired 2 BDRs, 2 account executives, got that up and going. Part of the go-to-market strategy is to always partner with bigger companies that have audiences and customers you can leverage and get in front of. And that led to me joining PlanGrid. So I did that for a year. And that was an awesome ride. They're a Sequoia-backed company. It's all things were pointing like they were going to be a huge success, and they were.
Okay.
They sold to Autodesk for $895 million.
Wow.
Halfway through my first year there, I was riding my bike back from watching the sunset, and I got hit by a car. And I woke up on the road, my bell completely rung, not knowing what was going on, in incredible pain. And I'm like, what happened? And some guy's like, I just found you laying here.
Oh my gosh.
And it was near my house. So I somehow was like, here, call my wife. I went to the hospital.
Yeah.
Broke my collarbone, collapsed, broke all my ribs, collapsed a lung. I was freaking out because I couldn't breathe. And when all I could think of is, I got to get back to work. You got to get back to work. This plane grid is Sequoia is the one.
Yeah.
Get back to work. I should have taken a year off. Like I was warped.
Yeah.
And then I had like this, what am I doing with my life? Like I just went all in.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm just going to go back to consulting. And that's when I met, QPix as a fractional CMO company. So I helped them launch successfully.
Okay.
They wanted me to be their VP of sales and marketing, but they couldn't agree on what I wanted. I'm like, I'm not doing it for anything less. I've learned my lessons. Like don't undersell yourself. Right. And that's when I came up with the idea for Pixly, which is interesting because it actually was born out of Connect.
Okay.
So previously, this is going long, but previous to Connect, I had mentored a founder, Patrick Cawhay, who had the original idea, which was called Photo Survey.
Okay.
And so he was an architect on big construction job sites. And he had to do photo surveys, which means take photos of the whole project every day. So he would do that, and he'd come back, plug in his phone, download all the photos to a folder, organize them, download them to a PowerPoint, mark them up, and email them to dozens of different people every day, which is still the way a lot of people do it.
Wow.
So he had the original idea. So I'm like, hey, Pat, whatever happened to you in Photo Survey? He's like, well, I hired the wrong development team, which happens.
That happens.
Watch out for that. And he never got the product. So I'm like, well, but he got a patent on placing tags on photos in the cloud, which is huge. I'm like, wow. So what did you do next? He's like, well, I had no options. I taught myself how to code. He created it, and he called it Anno, which is short for annotation.
Gotcha.
It's also short for something else in Spanish I won't say on the podcast, but you can figure it out.
Oh, wow.
But he was stuck, and he couldn't get anywhere because he didn't have a sales marketing hustler like me. So we partnered, and I basically took Anno, showed it to my customers, said, hey, if we spruce this up and added some features, would you buy it? Like, oh, for sure. So I'm like, okay, we're on to something. And I love the space. I like you. Let's build it. And then I hired squad help to come up with the name Pixly. Okay. 99 designs for the logo. I raised the friends and family money and got after it. And then COVID happened. Ugh. And so that slowed us down, but that's your origin story.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. That's okay. No, we had to get, it's a long story with to get into all that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it came through me mentoring at Connect to realize that all these things came together. So your network is like super important no matter what.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, that was a lot. We'll unravel that throughout the episode.
That's my therapy.
Yeah, that is. You got it off your chest. Hope you feel better.
I do. Feel a load off my chest.
Good.
Off my shoulders.
All right. Well, I think we are almost at time for this episode. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go?
Yeah. What do we else have to talk about? Yeah. What's your big, what's the big thing happening for you between this week and the next podcast?
Oh, well, okay. Well, by the next podcast, we will have launched classes, recurring classes. So as you're building out a schedule, so our product is designed for fitness instructors. It's not designed for studios, large studios. It's designed for the individual fitness instructor, dancer, yoga teacher. And so our whole thing is having them be like, being able to manage their classes, schedules, payments, customers, messaging, notifications, like the whole 360 degrees. And eventually we want to build, take advantage of the studio and build more coaching product or feature into that. But getting ahead of myself, we're working now on launching just recurring classes.
Cool.
Right now we were sort of, how we made money is that we worked with some nonprofits creating like an event platform. And so we're kind of pivot from that. And so pivoting from that, we're now focusing on classes and things like that individual instructors would be happy with. And so we've been working on that for a little while. And so we should see that started to, so we have this concept of boulders, see if I get it right, boulders, pebbles. So we have this concept called boulder, pebbles, and sand. So the boulders are those big kind of milestone things that you have to get done in place. It could be back end, it could be front end, it could be design, it could be something on technology, it could be something with the database. Anyway, those boulders have all been done. Now we're focusing on the little pebbles, and those are the things that are just going to make the experience kind of all come together. And then the sand are just those little fine touches that just complete the experience and make it easy to use.
I get it. So it's like the thing when you have a glass, you put the big rocks in, the small, and you fill the whole thing up. Oh, that's awesome.
Exactly.
That's cool.
So my co-founder Donnie came up with that, and so that's how he'll like sometimes do a status update. He'll say, "Well, I've completed all the boulders," and so he's done all the boulders, and now we're working on the pebbles. And then we'll work on the sand and get that done. And then after that, we'll start working on some marketing pages. That's where I'll be getting your help. Because we're ready to do like a whole self-service launch, kind of our go-to-market strategy, things like that. So all that's coming up because we're basically decided we're just going to build in public. We're just going to let people know where we are. Cool. They're going to build in public. And we have a pilot program going, and we're meeting more and more instructors. We obviously have instructors that come to our studio every day that we work with. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. It's pretty exciting. And we're just going to keep putting one foot in front of the other and just keep going forward.
Awesome. Yeah, but if I was like, I have a new side hustle for summertime, I'm going to teach surfing lessons, which I might actually do if you want to learn how to surf.
Okay.
I could use Bookable to schedule my surfing customers and all that stuff.
Absolutely. You're an individual. You are wanting to manage your schedule. You're wanting to collect payments. You're wanting to send out notifications. You're wanting to have people book you. I mean, that's the whole concept of Bookable, is that you can book me.
Couldn't it be like even beyond like health and wellness and like consulting and psychiatrists and all like anything?
Absolutely. But the thing is that we're going to start with a niche.
Got it.
Because this way we can just hit that with a pinpoint.
Totally.
Win that niche, kind of like a micro niche even, win that. And then go forward from there.
Yeah, the riches are in the niches.
That's what they say. I mean, so far it's worked out for us. Yeah, things have worked out. When we first started, we were kind of focused towards working with nonprofits and things like that wanted to do events. So if you were a nonprofit that was putting on a lot of events, then we were steering our product in that direction. Well, we got steered. We actually got pulled in that direction. That's what the market, they found us and pulled us. But now we're like kind of tugging back and say, well, no, what we originally wanted to do was we wanted to help our fitness instructors, our yoga teachers, our dance instructors, to really have like some type of B2B platform that they can really grow and manage their business. Because we're very passionate about helping instructors. Instructors help us. Like, you said you work out or you do a class, and like that 1 hour that you do in that class is life-changing.
It can be
way more valuable.
Or life-saving.
Life-saving, yeah. And it's way more valuable than what we all realize. Like, I realize it because I appreciate all my instructors. I know that, like, I'm thankful. I tell them that. I'm so thankful for you. And I think we should all do that because it's hard once you find a good instructor that you really bond with and they hit all the things that you're looking for. Like, they're almost irreplaceable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, that's the segment that we're trying to help grow. Not only grow their business in person, but also virtual or video on demand or coaching products. So we'll get into all that later, but that's cool. That's where we're at.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's Bookable.
That's awesome. Yeah, I originally built Pixley for what they call the ENR, Engineering News Record Top 400, which is like the Fortune 500 of construction, like the big companies thinking that's where the big money is.
Right.
My first customer was a guy from Allstate Insurance.
Okay.
So I'm like, let's go down the insurance path.
Yeah.
And then it's really hard to navigate up the waters towards an organization like that. But, and then my biggest customer is actually in facility maintenance and facility management.
Yeah, because you don't know how your product's going to be used. People will tell you.
The market will tell you for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's what happened to us. All right. Well, in this case, this has been a good talk. It's been, I think the episode lived up to its name, Startup Therapy.
Not bad, number 2.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is going to be number 1.
This is number 1.
This is actually, so we'll actually release this as number 1. Lee, we also will be inviting people on to be guests. I think several people have already reached out to you about being a guest on the show.
And you too.
As me as well. And we'll get to hear from different people, different parts of the industry, different skills, different things, and just keep growing this, because I think the San Diego startup community deserves something like this. And I think between the two of us, we can make it happen.
I think it's Yes, for San Diego, but way beyond San Diego.
Sure.
I think any founder anywhere, and maybe the thing we talk about is like, what's some of your biggest challenges and how do you overcome them?
Yeah,
because that's the hard stuff. Like there could be so many. Like, how do you find a co-founder?
Right.
How do you find the right offshore development team that you can trust? How do you choose the right CRM? How do you go out and get funding the way you did, or do you bootstrap it, or do you do angels and friends and family angels, or do you go to Y Combinator? And I had people tell me, go to Techstars. I'm like, I'm not giving them 6% of my business at this stage.
It's we could talk all about this. Like, I know we've struggled with, like, do we want to go the incubator route? Do we want to go those type of, accelerator routes? It's tough. I've done Founders Institute. I did that. I can tell you about that experience, both positive and negative, because there's positive and negatives to everything. There's two sides to every coin. But anyway, let's just wrap up this episode. I think we've talked enough.
Okay.
And we'll work on episode number 2 next.
Yeah. I would say get all the help you can from anywhere you can get it while you can get it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you feel a little better if you're a startup founder. Hopefully just talking it out was good. And send us your questions. Like, subscribe, share, and let's keep this going. We're here for you, and we'll be here for each other.